And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I'm Mike Harrison, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. It's my privilege to be joining you today. I've got a great show. If you've listened to me for any amount of time, I've told you that real estate is absolutely a team sport. At least if you want to be effective, it's a team sport. Utilize other folks' expertise to help you along the way. And the guest I have on the show today, I met through Lifestyles Unlimited way back when in 2013. He's a vendor. He's helped me personally on several properties that I've purchased, and quite frankly, that just wouldn't have been possible without his guidance and expertise. In fact, he's helping me right now on one of my properties. There's work going on at one of my rental properties as we speak, and Blake is often the first phone call I make when I'm looking at a property to purchase, or if I have an issue within the property, I call Blake and lean on him. But too often people get the bright idea to invest in real estate by themselves. That was me. I didn't know any better. I didn't know that there was real estate investment groups out there. I didn't know that there was people that specifically tailor their business directly to real estate investors. And so I had to wing it on my own. I was purchasing nice properties, and they weren't even providing an equity capture. I didn't even know what that was. And I learned after Lifestyles Unlimited, no, you buy the beat up property and you make it the nice property. And that's just one of the many things. But as a real estate investor, why should we have to guess the proper level of rehab when we can call an expert who does this every day and will tell us what that proper level of rehab should be and how much that would cost? And then we could plug those numbers in and purchase the rental property and make it work. But Blake's got more knowledge about single-family homes, what works, what will not work, the level of rehab needed, what degree of rehab is needed. And I can't share enough just how much this person has helped me. So, Blake, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on the show today.
You bet, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Blake, I went and checked on my property there Friday, and I tell you, I'm not afraid anymore. We've got over that. That was a long time ago. But for you listeners out there, I had some foundation work done in lifting the property. We cracked a sewer pipe. Luckily, it was pretty much right underneath where the bathroom toilet was, kind of underneath the wall. But yeah, Blake, I went and checked on it, and there's about a 3-foot tall pile of sewer mud there in the hallway. But I know everything's going to be okay. So I just wanted to say thanks for getting that leak. Luckily, you didn't have to go too far to find it.
You bet, man. As you know, as new investors and even as seasoned ones, you walk into that and you walk into a house and there's a piece of plastic on the ground and there's probably 2.5 to 3 foot tall by 5 foot wide pile of dirt and broken concrete, and it can be unnerving. I mean, I see it every day of my life, and there's still times where I go, "Good Lord!" But that's why you have the program and you hire the right people and you get the team, and then you just go to work, and then it becomes like you said, you walk in and you're probably at the point now where you just chuckle and go, "I'm glad that's not me in that hole."
Yeah, and I'm glad there's not a resident in the property either. So the resident moved out, and then we began the foundation work, and then obviously this sewer pipe work, which is it's a messy business, but I'm confident in your team. They're going to pull us through, and we'll have this thing in ship shape in a very short amount of time. So, Blake, how long have you been a vendor with Lifestyles Unlimited?
I believe since they came to Dallas-Fort Worth, which was 2010 now. So we're looking at
13 years. Yeah.
13, 14 years, somewhere around there, yeah.
Wow. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how many rehabs are you averaging a year? Have you ever sat down and figured that out?
It's hard to say, but I know we average anywhere from probably 150 to 225 single-family homes a year.
Wow. So for you listener out there, you see why I lean on Blake. We're doing this just a few times a year. Even a very active single-family home buyer, somebody that's very, very active might be doing 8 or 10 a year, and Blake's well over a few hundred. So you can see his expertise, and when you're asking for advice and how to do this is handy. It's going to help you quite a bit. It's going to help you be more effective. So Blake, I know you caught it, but I use the term rehab different from remodel. Do you see a difference between the two?
Absolutely, I do. I believe that a remodel is something that you do to your personal home, and a rehab is what you do to investment properties. And they are very different from each other. One has emotion attached to it, and one should have a vehicle for financial future attached to it.
Yeah, we're going to take something that's dysfunctional typically, and then we're going to make it functional, right? Clean and functional place to live for a great resident. Share your advice for new investors.
My advice for new investors is to trust the program. Trust the program that we're in, the Lifestyles model. The vendors in the program have been vetted. They're seasoned vendors, especially the ones that have tenure with the program. They understand the program probably as good, if not better, than some of the people that actually work in the program, because they do it day in and day out with the real estate investors. So for us, it's like second nature. It's like riding a bike. Yeah,
trust the program and follow the Lifestyles Unlimited model, which that model is best product, best price. It doesn't say greatest product at the cheapest price. It doesn't say subpar product at this price. It's best product, best price, and that includes management. That includes running the property. That includes taking care of the property. So, Blake, dive into that a little more, because you've talked me down from spending money I didn't need to spend at times.
And that's, I think that comes with just, getting to be having that level of experience, and and that's another part of the model that works so well is not only are you trusting the vendors, but the vendors know the model as well. So I know it in and out. So I could literally walk in there and tell you, this is what you need to do, this is what you're going to do, and this is how it's going to happen. But you got to trust it. And that's where most new investors, they've watched HGTV, Flip or Flop, they've done all this stuff. So they get these ideas of grandeur in their mind. And we're not, and I say it all the time, is we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to roll it.
So, Blake, what you're saying is they're not picking out paint colors, right? They're not picking out carpet colors or tile choices when they come to you.
No, Mike, it's the funniest thing. They come to me and they go, look, I really would like to try to do this gray tone that I'm like, yeah, I know. I have 3 pallets of the gray paint sitting in my warehouse. It's called the Whisper Ridge. It's what everybody's using. It's the same tile. I know it's 12 by 24. We get it. That's what I'm saying is, if you took all of the houses that we did for Lifestyles members last year, I'd say 75% of them all look the exact same on the inside. But they're all over the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're not all in the same neighborhood, and no one would know any better. You'd walk into a property and you're seeing, a certain tone of paint, a certain, the trim is a certain color, the flooring is a certain type, the appliances, right? I take it you're buying appliances in bulk as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
And just roll it out. So think about that as a new investor. How would you like, you're responsible, obviously, for doing the math, doing the analysis, purchasing the property, and then Blake steps in and he takes it from there. You don't have to worry about the interior. You don't have to worry about the tile choice, the brand of appliance. That's all covered. The doorknobs, right? What else am I missing, Blake?
Oh, the towel bars, the robe hooks, the cabinet pulls, just all the little details that people forget about that we automatically just put in our scopes of work.
Blinds, ceiling fans. I've seen obviously your scopes because we've done a bunch of properties, but I think, it might be 12 pages of line items. And as a new investor, that's something you don't have to worry about. So I love it. I love the process once I handed it over to you, and then we just check on it every few days, or you send in pictures, right? I don't even look at the houses that much anymore.
Yeah, we try to make it simple. Our goal is to try to keep the investors, I believe they should probably come by once a week and check their projects, just to make sure, just try to get their head around it. But the last thing they want to do is go by on lunch breaks, go by after hours. I liken it to the fact of when when you buy stock, you don't drive by, that Walmart every day to make sure that it's doing well. You let the stock do what it's supposed to do, and it's the same thing with houses.
Yeah, and so you got the new investor. Have you had, people are great until the moment they're not, and this is a person-to-person business. We all talk. We all compare notes. Have you had just that crazy out-of-control person that's constantly on the job or getting in the way of the guys? Talk to me about that. I'm sure it's happened. Yes,
we definitely have had some issues. I tell you what it is a lot of time. It's people that are very controlling in their line of work or their profession, and they can't let go of the rehab process. That's that one, and the person that had just had their house completely remodeled, and they believe the expectations for their personal home should be the same as their rehab. And as vendors, we got to do the best job we can possibly do trying to set expectations for the members. But sometimes the expectations are just unrealistic.
Yeah, I get it, and I totally understand. People are wanting, we're holding on to these houses for 3 years, 5 years, maybe sometimes a little more. But that sticker that you have, and you handed one to me many years ago, I've got it pinned in my office, and it basically says, it's not your home, it's your investment. Am I right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, and that makes total sense when you think about it. It's not your home, it's your investment. We're going to make it functional, clean, great place to live. We're going to put a great person in there, but we don't want to go overboard with the property because you're not going to get that money back. My name is Mike Harrison. We'll continue this on the other side.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
Lifestyles Unlimited members share their stories and strategies for success at case study events.
If you got laid off tomorrow, what would you do? Would you have to be working at McDonald's or wait to try and find another job with the downsizing the economy? Kept on coming to meetings, even with David Fisher online and stuff like that, but still we just we need to make the jump.
So we kept praying for time to get this job done, to be able to find the properties. How do we find the properties? How do you find the time? And God answered our prayers, and he got downsized from his corporate job.
But they didn't buy just one house, right?
No, they did not. You're rehabbing house number
9 right now.
9.
Wow.
So every month, the cash flow is $3,200. Okay, the equity of all the houses is up to $280,000.
Join us this month and learn from people just like you. Check in-person and online dates at lukstudy.com. Once again, that's lukstudy.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Mike Harrison. If you'd like to attend one of our free workshops and learn more about Lifestyles Unlimited, learn more about the Lifestyles Unlimited model of investing into single-family properties and apartment communities, how we make money 5 ways on a single-family property and 6 ways in an apartment community, please join us at freeworkshoplivestream.com. And if you'd like to join Lifestyles Unlimited, you can do so at financialfreedomlivestream.com. Hopefully you're picking up the pattern there. But if you go to financialfreedomlivestream.com, you can join. The retail price is $740, but if you use promo code SAVEBIG, SAVEBIG, all one word, type that in, it will drop that price to $297. And that is way cheaper than it was when I joined. So I've got a guest on today's show, a friend of mine that's helped me quite a bit, Blake Johnson. Blake, why don't you throw out your contact info real quick before we get lost here in the show?
Yeah, you can contact us at finishingtouchesremodeling.com, or you can go to, that's our website, or you can call us at area code 817-451-6565.
Okay. And there's one point from the last segment, and I just want to go back to the why. Why don't we go overboard on these single-family rehabs, barn doors, crown molding, the highest-end wood floors, that sort of thing? Well, there's a simple reason for it. Again, this is an investment. So a home is going to sell for whatever that pretty much that average square foot of the neighborhood is. So if everything in the neighborhood is selling for $150 a square foot, let's say, and you're the guy with the house or the gal with the house, and you've got the crown molding, whatever, Sub-Zero refrigerator, I mean, throw it out there, vinyl plank, just everything above and beyond. You're not going to get, you might get, $5 or $6 or maybe $10 a square foot more, but you're not going to get your money back out of those upgrades. It's not that, I mean, Blake, I'm sure you'd love to charge more and put this level of rehab in there, but it's just not the right thing to do on it. And I'm sure I'm sure you're still getting asked all the time from people that are wanting to go above and beyond, correct?
Yeah, it's a constant struggle, man. We really have to try to rein them in and try to explain to them that, again, just like the sticker, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's not your house, it's your investment. And that's the point that we try to drive home. And then there comes times, Mike, where I give up. And I say, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do all that stuff because you can lead the horse to water,
Right. Now, I'll tell you this, something that I did on several of my properties, and it was my own little touch, but it was only $500, was the concrete mailbox. I love I've got a guy that'll build those for me. It's just basically a little concrete pad, and he puts the brick, it's a brick column with a mailbox in it and a cap on top, and it was running me about $500, and that's a nice piece, and I think that actually adds quite a bit to the property when people are looking at it, and it fits within that best product, best price. But that wasn't much at all, and it was functional. I mean, you're, as opposed to just sticking a 4x4 in the ground and putting a mailbox on top. Those things always break or get knocked over anyway.
I have a lot of new clients as well. They're constantly wanting to sod the backyard. They're like, oh, the backyard has dirt in it because they had dogs previously, and we need to sod the backyard. That's just not a good use of the rehab budget at all.
Yeah. I mean, the grass is going to grow back, provided you're renting that property to someone who doesn't have 4 greyhounds back there. I've bought those houses, but typically people don't have that many dogs, or at least you can control it with the lease.
You can't confirm if they're going to water it.
Yeah. No, that's right. And most of the time they won't. They're renting a property, and that's a great point. They're not spending that extra money on the water.
Yeah.
So, Blake, this show gets played. It's not just a Texas show anymore. It's numerous markets across the United States. It's part of that Lifestyles Unlimited radio network. I want people out there to understand that you do work for people out of town. In fact, we have a saying at Lifestyles Unlimited: you do work for people out of state. Live where you want. Invest where you want. Talk about that process on how that works with somebody owning a property here in Texas, and you're covering the rehab, and they're 7 states away.
Well, it's interesting. They're actually probably, I hate to say this, but they're probably our best investors. We've got some in Israel. We've got some in Australia.
Wow.
I've got a handful right now of guys that are buying houses. One of them's based in California. One of them is actually a member, and he is in Japan right now on work. But he's actively buying property here in North Texas. Okay.
So he's got, whether he's using our challenge level where Lifestyles Unlimited realtors will find the property, or he's got some sources of folks that are finding property or helping him find it, and then he's putting you in the process. At what point is he contacting you?
He's reached out to us. He actually followed. Occasionally, somebody actually does what they're told, Mike. He followed the process to the letter of the law. He reached out to us, introduced himself, introduced his real estate agent that he's working with, which is a Lifestyles agent, put us all together in a group conversation so we got to know who he was, what his goals were, just shared his information with us and his vision and what his exit strategy is. And we basically have just been communicating via email and phone call. We've never even met.
Wow. Okay, so he's finding the property, and then you're looking at it, I guess, during that option period on his behalf?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and then just kind of confirming what level of rehab, because if someone's finding these properties for them, they've probably already kind of put a rough pencil. I mean, I could walk in a property and I mean, I'm no GC, but I can walk in a property and know if it's going to be, $30,000 to $50,000 a rehab, something along those lines. So he's having you come in during the option period, and you're just confirming pretty much what they already understand.
That's correct. We're working together directly with the agent. So me and the agent are already communicating. The agent does his due diligence, then he sends us out once he's got it under contract, or once he's got, in the option period, then we inspect it, verify, and then we go to contract.
Take us through the process of your team once they basically take over a property and begin, and they're working with, whether it's somebody here or somebody out of town. How's that go?
Well, basically, we would, once we get the scope of work finalized and we get everybody where they need, we then follow up with the lender and make sure that the lender has everything they need for the scope of work to go to closing, and to make sure that the appraisal is maximizing the ARV, which ARV is the acronym for after repaired value. And then we get them a username and a login to our job portal, which is very similar to like Facebook type of situation. It's where everybody communicates all in one collaborative. We'll send them pictures and videos and, information about the job as it progresses every third day. They'll get an update. There's a calendar that kind of shows the start date and completion date. So there's a lot of information at your fingertips. And the goal of that was to avoid people having to come by the job every day to do their inspections.
Talk to me about maybe the size or the scope of the properties that you're rehabbing today versus maybe what you were doing 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic, Mike. It has drastically changed. I'm doing houses now that if, let's say one of the lifestyles agents sent me there 3 years ago, well, probably 3 to 4 years ago, I would drive by and laugh and go, there's no way we're doing that house. It's just too distressed. It's too rough. Yeah. And now I would say 60% of the stuff on our books is that distressed and is that rough. And it's because there's, the lack of inventory. We're doing stuff, we used to not advocate buying stuff that was built pre-1960. And now we're buying, they're buying stuff all the way back in the 40s and 30s, and the rehab budgets are they're much larger than they were. Now the margins are there, so it works. But the rehabs are just not, it used to be $10 a square foot. Well, that's a thing of the past for sure.
Yeah. Well, the properties that typically I purchase, and there's the big five, and I'll share that. So the big five are your high ticket items when you go into a property and you have to address and fix these things. So electrical, plumbing, HVAC, foundation, and roof, and typically I might have one or two. I've got two in that property now that foundation's fixed, and your guys are doing the plumbing and the make ready for me on that. But so you're seeing what, 4 out of the big 5 on these?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm seeing 5 out of 5 sometimes.
5 out of 5. Yeah. You might have to, there's something there. You may have to get a sticker for that. So, wow. Yeah. So if you're having to do electrical, plumbing, HVAC, foundation, roof, what's that done to the turnaround time? I like to get in and out in 90 days.
Yeah, we're not doing that on those larger projects. that also, when we get to the big 5, we also have to get city involvement. Yeah. And that's going to slow us down a little as well.
I mean, these are properties that historically people wouldn't buy. And so there's an opportunity for the investor. This is a win. Think of this. This is a win across the board for everybody. I guess you've got your fair share of before and afters, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I've got, I quit taking pictures, and if somebody wants to see something, I just give them an address.
Yeah. Go check it out. Nice. I like it. So Blake, you touched on hard money and ARV, and I'm going to explain hard money just quickly. Not a deep dive, but essentially, so these properties are they're unmortgageable, I guess, through conventional means because they're not a functional property. So no standard mortgage company will give anybody a mortgage. They won't loan you money to buy these properties. So you have to go through hard money, and there's a whole financial reason hard money makes sense, but not to go into that now. So you've got a hard money lender They want to get in and out of this. The hard money lender is given a scope of work either by yourself or by the owner or a combination. Like, here's what we're going to do to bring it up to speed and the shape. And so, Blake, talk to us about the importance of following that scope of work.
It's extremely important that once the scope of work is finalized and it's sent to the lender, I'm not going to really deviate from that scope of work too terribly much. Yeah. Especially if you come back, if the especially if it's a lifestyle a member, and they decide that, the scope of work calls for granite and luxury waterproof vinyl. Well, I want to save some money now, and I'm just going to put in Formica countertops and regular sheet vinyl. My next phone call is directly to the lender, and I'm going to tell on you.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is you could drastically decrease the after repaired value, which means your appraisal is not going to hit when you come out of the back end, which means you're going to end up taking a lot more money to closing potentially. And I want to make sure the lender is aware.
For someone who doesn't know any better, it sounds innocent enough, right? You've got a scope of work, and there's something they want to change for whatever reason, save money, what have you. This is a flight plan. It's been basically registered and approved.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and this is the path we're taking. And you're telling us, we're supposed to be on a course of, 9 degrees, and you're telling us, we need to go to, 65 degrees or something like that, take a hard ride in the plane. And I want the listener to understand this scope of work has been approved by a lender. Once it's complete, this property now, you buy dilapidated property for $100,000, and now it's going to be worth $250,000. So the hard money lender is counting on that after repaired value. The new conventional lender is going to look at what's done, and then they're going to go, yep, that's a nice house. I'm happy to loan on it. Everything's functional. We've got electrical, we've got plumbing. The roof is fixed. It's a positive place to live for somebody, and everything's signed on. And if they change the scope of work, I don't want to use the word fraudulent, but what I do want the investor to understand is that, if you don't hit ARV, then this whole thing comes crashing down quickly. And it's not a good situation. So wanted them to understand that. Do you get asked that a lot, Blake?
I do more than you would think. And once I explain to them, a lot of times I have to go into depth and go, okay, here's the reason why I'm not going to do this, or I have to have a conversation with your lender before I will, go down that road. And then they kind of get a little bit testy and like, well, why are you calling my lender? This is my house. It's my decision. I'm trying to look after your best interest long term.
Yeah. If you don't hit ARV, you're not going to be able to get out of that hard money loan. And that you're talking about super, interest rates that are 14% with a couple of points. I know hard money lenders out there vary, and there's some probably listening to us right now. They're like, no, Harrison, we're at 12. I don't know what it is, but you've got to hit that ARV. That you said there's going to be granite in there. There needs to be granite. You said there's going to be tile in that hall bath. There needs to be tile in that hall bath, or whatever the scope calls for. If you're putting I can see it changing in roofing, somebody wanting to change the shingle type or something like that from a lifetime shingle to a 3-tab, and that would change the value of the home. So what we're doing, earlier in the show, we talked about overdoing it and something you're not going to get paid for. And now if we're talking about underdoing it, you're not going to get that conventional loan, and it's going to cost you time, thousands of dollars. Things are going to have to be redone. You can get in trouble quick. So, Blake, I've never done a deep dive on one of these older properties. I've thought about it for fun, but where do you go? What's the first thing you have to begin with?
Well, we start by, we've got to get the scope of work finalized, send it off, and then basically we start at the bottom and work our way up. We start with the foundation, got to get that thing level and secure, and then we just go from foundation, just continue on down the line until we get to the end product.
So foundation, plumbing, electrical.
Yeah.
And you're having to put, I'm sure you're having to put flooring in some of these. I've seen some pictures David Fisher will put out there online. And there's a hole in the floor, like a giant hole, or there's a hole, there's no wall there or something along those lines. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I've got one right now that you open the front door and it's just dirt. That's it. That's all it's there. They're in the process of putting in a whole new. They're restructuring the entire subfloor.
Wow. Well,
yeah, I mean, I kid you not, Mike. You step in the front door and you fall down, and it's just dirt.
Well, and I want the listener to understand that's okay. It's a mathematical equation. We're going to make this nice. We're not slumlords. This is going to be a great property when everything's said and done. And so you've done your analysis. You've got the math. You've got your team of folks behind you, right? Your hard money lender knows what's happening. They don't want to be in the deal for a long period of time. You've got your conventional lender waiting on the backside for everything to get done. They're okay with it. You've got folks like Blake, and we've got numerous vendor team here at Lifestyles Unlimited that are, you metaphorically kind of put your arm around me and said it's going to be okay, little buddy, on that first house. I was really nervous, but I just want the listener to understand it's a smooth process. Like Blake said, follow the plan, adhere to best product, best price, and you'll be okay. My name's Mike Harrison. I want you to remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.